Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this afternoon titled Quote Faster to Win More Business with Magaya Rate Management. We're so excited to have you here. We have some incredible content that we've prepared this afternoon, diving deep into everything having to do with rates. But before we get started, we do have a couple of housekeeping items that we want to go ahead and mention. First and foremost, everyone's walking away with the door prize this afternoon. Don't say I never gave you anything. It's going to be a recording of this webinar. Secondly, when you go ahead and we get to the Q&A portion of the webinar, we're kindly asking that you please go ahead and send it through the Q&A panel. During these webinars, we usually get a ton of questions. Sometimes they come in through the chat, and unfortunately, we can't see them, and we'd love to be able to answer all your questions live. So just make sure to go ahead and put them in the Q&A panel. And then last but not least, you should be seeing in front of you a downloadable collateral assets. So make sure to download any desired collateral. It's all free for you to enjoy, and it's going to go ahead and be everything relating to rate management. We'll even refer back to some of those pieces of collateral throughout the webinar itself. And with that being said, let's go ahead and let's dive into the speakers that'll be joining me during this afternoon's webinar. First and foremost, hi, my name is Alfred. I'm the Director of Growth Marketing here at Magaya. And joining with me, first up, we have the incredible, inimitable Gustavo Gomez, lovingly known as Gus at Magaya. He is our Senior Solutions Specialist for Strategic Accounts. Gus, go ahead and say hi.
Thank you, Alfred. Hi, everybody. Great to see you here. Excited for this presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Secondly, we have the incredible and very funny Morgan Hill. He is the Director of Product Management at for Rate Management. Go ahead and say hi, Morgan.
Hey, everybody. Well, Gus is that's his lovable name. My lovable name that I go by is Morgan. That's my first name.
So your actual professional name is Morgan, correct?
Yeah, and some other names.
Oh boy.
Talk about this.
Well, we can't get into that during this webinar, but maybe a follow-up. All right. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and talk about is the state of digitization. Now, like I mentioned, in terms of the collateral, you should see this inside of your console. Feel free to go ahead and download. But what this is, aside from being the most downloaded, the most engaged with, and not only that, the most popular piece of collateral that Magaya has ever put out, it's also a really interesting picture of what the future is in store for freight forwarding, not only its current state but also what's going to happen in the future. And what we did through a third party, which was Adelante CSM, they actually interviewed hundreds of freight forwarders, and not only the freight forwarders but also their customers, to go ahead and get a pulse check on what's going on in the industry. So the report actually paints a couple of different things. First and foremost, one, outdated systems create bottlenecks. And so a lot of businesses nowadays rely on disconnected systems and manual processes, and no surprise there, it's creating a ton of turmoil. The other thing is when there's visibility gaps, it can actually hinder fast decision making. We all know that when it comes to freight forwarding, especially stuff like air cargo, decisions need to be made very quickly at the drop of a hat. And then last but not least, that the demand is rising for a unified platform. Companies don't want to have to go out and in many different portals. They want a central control tower where they can go ahead and do all their things. Now, before we move on to the next slide, I actually wanted to ask you, Gus, and also Morgan, I know that you've gone through the State of Digitization report, and we have these 3 points here on screen. Did any of these surprise you? Did you think that maybe there should have been a different one that was mentioned? What was your take on it?
No, I mean these items really echo what we're also hearing from our customers. What I lived in my previous employment life as well. Systems are certainly outdated. They're written in the 80s, 90s, and just recently, the realization from what customers are saying is that they just don't do everything that they want them to do. So they have to go out and either try to find complementary systems, or try to connect to other systems, and have to have wild integrations and those sorts of things. Uh, and with all of that, are certainly these visibility gaps that they run into. They just can't see everything that they want, from everywhere. So
That's true. And that was one of the biggest ones as well. So let's talk about or bring to light a couple of the challenges that I know that a lot of the people that are on this webinar right now are probably facing. So 43%, and I was actually really I don't want to say concerned, but I thought the number was going to be actually lower. But 43% of time is spent on pricing and quotes. The challenges you have manual data entry, unregulated pricing, RFQ response times, full visibility and control, and then ever changing rates and surcharges. Now, Gus, I know that you especially have shown a ton of people the rate management platform and software. Which one of these do you think people struggle with the most whenever you're demoing the software?
Well, Alfred, I'm I will say contract management, like just the fact that you need to go through every single page of those contracts and make sure like you're following to the T. It's very time consuming. And at the end of the day, like a little mistake there will damage your whole operation, right? So definitely the manual data entry and the digitizing of that rate data is what I've seen like people really, really have a struggle with.
And I mean, we saw it with the state of the industry just one slide ago. It's people want a central control tower. They don't want to have to go in and out of 20 different platforms to be able to get the data or the information that they need. So that's, in other words, I guess, and it's the next slide that we have over, it creates a clear opportunity to go ahead and leverage modern solutions to one, close the gaps, improve agility because you have to make these fast decisions and strengthen profitability. Just like you mentioned right now, Gus, if anyone makes a mistake, especially when it comes to those contract rates, it's going to get pretty expensive very quick.
Yep.
So then let's talk about what solution we have and what we're going to go ahead and show everyone nowadays of how Magaya can help with those 3 points.
yeah, and
Well,
it's really looking at what someone might want to get out of a rate management system, um, before they even decide to either choose us or somebody else. It's kind of these check off list. The single source of the truth. I started my career reading contracts, ocean contracts, in PDF form, Word form, Excel formats, all different kinds, every single day. I was actually surprised that that percentage of 43 was lower than what I would have thought, but I'm
Oh,
happy that it might be decreasing now with a lot more of the the competency out there in the market would as it pertains to rates and everything and all the ancillary information that comes about with that. But yeah, I would have to read the contract to get my ocean freight. Then I have to call a trucker, and then I have to email someone overseas to figure out what their charges are, um, and then put them down in my own little Excel file that I kept myself in my one branch district as part of my last company, and then they had people doing all of that same thing all over the place. So it was really, and if I had business that was going into a different territory, I'd have to call different colleagues in different offices to try to get their rates and then have discussions on the opportunity. Nothing was just right there in one single place where I could just go figure out what the rate is and figure out what margins I want to put on and then figure out what that sell rate's going to be and hand it off to that customer that's looking for it. So that was kind of the holy grail of what I was trying to get at, that automated rate and quotes, that so I didn't have to do as much legwork and communication work and just sit for a day or two or three or even a week to get responses back. Um, and then once we had all that, getting that business intelligence, how am I doing on my win ratios? How am I doing on my margins? Could these be better? Could I squeeze something else? Do I have the right vendors? Those kinds of things.
right.
The TMS integrations is a huge piece because, like I mentioned earlier, people have systems that they were built so long ago, and having there wasn't really a focus on the rate part of it, not realizing that these rate management companies like us can go ahead and send quotes into a system to create a shipment or a booking automatically based on the information that's there. So it cuts out so much processing time.
Exactly. And honestly, just hearing you mention it right now, Morgan, just all those manual processes and having everything in kind of like a silo, and God forbid that Excel
Yeah.
spreadsheet has a mistake on it. Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got really cute with my Excel spreadsheets and my
Oh,
formulas and everything. So if if I'm calling the wrong cell on a different sheet somewhere, I got a problem.
yeah. No, you threw in a little pivot table there just to add some seasoning, some spice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice little graphics for my quote template.
Because, yeah, and again, think of all the manual time spent that you have to go ahead and do that. But
Yeah.
so now we've spoken about the way of the past and how it was being done. How does the Magaya rate management system differentiate itself? How does it remove all those manual processes?
Yeah, we've got everything in one place. I've been a user of this rate management software before Magaya's acquisition of it, for must have been 10 years or so. So I was very familiar getting all of the buy rates into the system so you can see everything across your entirety of your business and the global scope or whatever your geographic scope might be. And then also having in the same place the sell rates. And when you put the two together, you get your margin. You can track, how you're doing there. So I don't necessarily have to email someone overseas and wait a couple days for a response. I don't have to call a trucker. I don't have to call for warehousing or any other services because it's all right there in the system where I can search, I can connect things, I can do multimodal, I can do door to door, ocean freight, LCL. We've got a partnership with our air provider, Cargo AI, which is fantastic. We have a nice little link from the rate management that brings you right to their system, so you can actually go ahead and book the cargo based on a quote as well. So really, really cool stuff that we just keep it all in there in one spot. And then it's trying to increase those profit margins. That's
That's a big one.
one of the key drivers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have our allocation incentive management where we can consume allocation agreements if customers have them and show them what their ongoing incentive calculation is based on bookings that have been made with carriers. Marry it up right to the allocation right in one spot. Nice, easy to see.
Yeah. And did you know, by the way, on that last bullet point, what the internal acronym is for that portion of the software?
I want to live forever. Anyone know the song lyric?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fame. Fame.
Fame.
FAIM.
That's it. And I actually came up with that myself. I'm just kidding. I
I
didn't.
know. I remember.
I was just about.
Somebody did. I think someone in marketing did.
Yeah, absolutely. But I wanted to touch on the second to last bullet point, the increasing profit margins, because we all know that all customers are not created equal. And so, is there a way that you can explain, like inside of the rate management software, that someone who's booking more, less, and it's incorporated also inside of the TMS with the customer database, that you can customize these rates for customers based on the volume that they ship?
Right. We've got several pieces of functionality in there. A lot of times you might be quoting that same customer over and over and over again. So you might have custom margins specifically for that customer. So you can set those custom margins within our margin management module. That's a lot of M's, a lot of alliteration there.
Say it three
As
times
well
fast.
as surcharges as well at the customer level. So you can search by the customer, and the rates you see that populate will consider everything that you have set up for that customer. So you don't necessarily have to search your buy rates and then create your sell rate. We can do that automatically now within the system with recent enhancements in the first half of this year. So really, really cool stuff. And based on your win ratios, which you can find in the quote history,
Right.
if you're not winning a lot of that business for that customer, Perhaps there is a margin problem amongst any other, issue that might be out there, but you can just tweak those margins as you want to on the fly during the coding process or within the margin management. You can just tweak those for
And
all modes. Really cool.
yeah, and it's quick. You have to make those decisions really quickly, especially if you want to
Yeah.
keep that customer. So that's super important. But I've always said that as humans, we're very much visual learners. So we're actually going to take a demonstration of the system and we're going to show all these fine people that joined us for the webinar how it actually works. So, Gus, I know that you're going to take it away from here. Let's take a look at that demo.
Let's do this. So now we are looking at our main page in our Magaya Rate Management tool. And as you can see, we are going to be able to see quotations created, average margin, the win ratio, and rates return, right? So the most important part at the beginning of this is to understand how you want to how you're going to be working with our rate management tool. And that's going to be based on the contract management. Contract management could be full serve or self-serve. So whenever we talk about full serve, we will be you'll be able to choose from FMC, multi-modal, new or amendments. You're gonna be able to select the contract, add the advisories, and upload the contract from a carrier in an XLM or CSV file. Our team of analysts will map it, review it twice, and this will be taking between 24 and 72 hours to be able to upload that contract, right? But at the end of the day, we take care of the whole process. The other option will be self-serve. And in this case, like it describes the word self-serve, you're going to be doing all this on your own. We will provide you with if I check right here, you will see the system will give you a template for you to download. And from here, you'll be able to upload that information in that Excel template and start working, with loading all your contracts. Other thing that is important to mention is that we also work with spot rates. And in that case, for FCL spot, we do port-to-port only, and you will have to have credentials with the carriers. This will work with Maersk, Evergreen, One, Hapag, Hyundai, MSC, and SIM. Okay. We also do this for LCL loaders with Vanguard, Shipco, Ecoline, and CareTrans. And for air, we do this with 7L and Cargo AI. For dredge, we do this as well with IMS, ITG, Xworks, Xenon, and Dray Master. Okay. For all of these partners, they must already have a relationship established. Remember that. Except with Cargo AI and ITG, we can help you be signed, through us directly. Now let's go to the actual rate search in our Magaya Rate Management. So as you can see right here, the system will allow you to do single, multi, and have history and look at tariffs. You will be able to select the data options, the shipment options. I'm going to look for FCL and the type. In this case is dry, and you can select the different types of containers you want to work with. We're going to be working with a route that is going to be Shanghai to Long Beach, and I'm going to put my Merck spot too as well. And from here, I'm going to click search. The system is going to start scraping all that information that we have available. And as you can see, we have some rates coming back. Once I select the rate that I want to work with, in this case, I'm going to select Evergreen. Notice how the system is going to populate the window on my right-hand side. Right here, you will have the information or the details of this rate that I selected. Effective, full commodity, contract notes if there's any, the hazardous notes if there's any. And also we're going to be able to go into charges. You want to be able to look at the charges from the sell point or the buying point. Whenever I scroll down, you're going to be able to add new charges to this or add a margin. Whenever you add a margin, you can do this by a price, or flat fee, or a percentage. So if I want to add $100 to this, I just click OK right here. And now I have that margin added of $100 right here. Now, when you select and review the price and everything makes sense, you add your margin, you have your buy, you have your sell. You can look at the schedules as well and your free time. So from here, you're going to be able to click this add button to put it on your shopping cart, and it's going to move it over here. From here, we go to the paper plane on the top right corner, and we click send. And this is going to allow you to assign this to a specific client. Here, I'm going to put the name of my company, or the company that I want to send this to, ABC company. I'm going to select someone within that company to be sending this to. I'm going to move there. And notice how now it's taking us to the format and output. Notice that we have checked the email. So this will send this code by email. It will also give them the option to accept or reject. Once they click here, the system will understand that the code has been accepted. It's going to push it to our TMS if we select this box right here, and we'll create that code in our Magaya supply chain. Notice that the system will give you different booking options, form options, and overview rate options. The most important part here is for you to see that it's going to be creating the whole process from this rate search to creating the email for your customer to select. So once we accept this format, we just click this checkbox right here, and it's going to be sending that email for you. Yeah, you see, quote successfully sent. It will show at the bottom. I'm going to give a couple minutes to show you how this arrived into my email. And now let me show you the quote that arrived into my email right here. You see, is showing exactly the same data that we had on our rate management tool. And the system will generate a PDF as well. From here, I can click accept, and this is going to create that quote into my Magaya supply chain, and also will give me the number of that quote to keep track of it. So if I go now to my Magaya supply chain, you will see that I have that quote created here. With all that information, the quote number, the routing, the charges, everything populated in my Magaya supply chain. Even at the notes, we have all the schedule. And in more info, we have the rate ID, the transit time, the contract ID, and the rate management quote ID.
All right. That was a pretty thorough demo, Gus. Thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
All right. So we've officially reached the Q&A portion of the webinar. And now is the time to go ahead and ask your questions. Like I mentioned initially, go ahead and drop those down into the Q&A panel below, and we'll start answering them for you live. All right. So the first one that we have, thank you so much, Paula, for sending it over, is what languages are available in the platform? And either one of you can take this one, Gus.
We have all of them.
All the languages.
RMS has a pretty robust language translation
Oh, okay.
built in. Yep.
So there you go, Paula. You have pretty much all the languages built in.
Just a feature activation, where if you have any number of languages you want to have turned on, they can be turned on, and a little drop down pops up in the top of the UI, and whatever one you select, the UI will remember it the next time.
Perfect. All right.
Yep.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Paula says, Morgan. Fantastic. All right, we did get another question is how does Magaya ensure that the rates in the system are always up to date and accurate? That's a really good one. Either one of you can take this one.
Yeah, up to date. We have several ways we get rates. We have a large team of contract professionals that our goal is to get rates updated by upload within a 24-hour period. We are well below that on average, which is really great. We do have several API endpoints connected to various transportation providers, ocean carriers, air carriers, ground carriers that come back relatively instantly. We can't really speak to the accuracy of rates because they're not our rates. So we just rely on those rates coming in to be at the latest level that they are. We when we do connections and do new like carrier onboarding, we have a pretty robust testing process where we get a client or two or three, however many, where we load those rates to test sites, and then we ask our customers to go in and provide sort of that accuracy measurement.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Paula has another question are the charges manually input or are they automatically input into the system through APIs?
Both.
Both.
We do love our automated connections through API. We have several FTP connections with carriers that send us the contract files directly. And those are already mapped and get uploaded into the system relatively quickly. But there is a lot of manual uploads as well.
Beautiful. And what about, there's another question, can the system handle complex rate structures like multi-leg shipments?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, the quick answer will be yes. You'll be able to create this either way from a contract perspective or build this manually as well. But Morgan, if you want to add a little bit more into the complexity of the tool.
Huh. Yeah. I was a user of it for many years, so I have that sort of firsthand knowledge. But yeah, when you have a contract that might have a transshipment or two, those are definitely accounted for. There's the via ports if you have a U.S. inland export going from like a Chicago to a New York to Rotterdam and inland somewhere. Those are all accounted for and visible within the system.
Beautiful. Fantastic. We have one more question here, which is how easy is it to generate a customer quote using Magaya compared to other software?
Magaya
For me, I'd say it's super easy.
Yeah.
There's no bias there whatsoever, right, Morgan?
Yeah. Not at all.
Yeah. We did get one more question from Farah, which is Magaya already has a rate section. Is this another extension to it? So if I'm understanding correctly, is the system living inside natively of the Magaya Explorer, or is it another extension, something that lives externally?
So the RMS lives externally from the core products.
Perfect.
And there's integrations to send racing quotes into supply chain.
Perfect. Did I get the essence of your question right, Farah? I just want to make sure that I'm doing it justice. Yes, thank you. All right, there we go. Hey, we can't deny that this is live right here. Okay, fantastic. Well, we're just at time. I wanted to go ahead and thank my co-presenters today, Morgan Hill and Gus. Thank you so much for taking the time out today to show us this incredible piece of software. And thank you all for joining us in this webinar this afternoon. We'll catch you the next time. And till then, everyone have a great rest of your day.
Likewise. Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.